Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Good morning and good evening. My name is Vinay, and I take great pleasure in welcoming you all. In today's session of Active Threat Analytics, we will deep dive on how to investigate the dashboard, which presents the potential security breach cases based on different mechanisms.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Nutan, and in today's webinar, we would cover one of those important features of Guardium, that is Guardium Active Threat Analytics. So now let's quickly go over the demo. So this is the page which we spoke about in my last slide, Active Threat Analytics Setup. So how do you navigate to this page? Manage, Maintenance, Active Threat Analytics Setup. So if you come here, click Enable All Process, and in one click, you will have Threat Finder and Outlier Mining enabled. Since it is already enabled on my environment, this button is disabled as of now. To enable, say you want to enable Outlier on specific units. So here, you come over here, select any unit on which you want to enable Outlier. Click on the Actions tab and then enable Outliers. If you need to enable selectively, then you enable on the aggregator in preference to collectors. Similarly, if you just want to enable Threat Finder, come here and you click Enable. So now let's see what is this Analytics Exclude List. You might want to exclude certain sources and activities from active threat analytic process to avoid false positive. For example, like there is some test data or activities that run by automated process. Or maybe you want to exclude some temporary tables or activities run by some trustworthy applications to reduce false positive. So what do? Click plus. Now I know, say this is I'm just giving some dummy server IP. Say you want to exclude this server IP. So now you give here the server IP, click save. So what is going to happen is all the databases on this server and all the database users of this database are excluded from analytics. You can also choose to exclude sources only from a specific category. Say this is one I have already excluded. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm excluding a database, this database QA test, I'm excluding this database from this category, new grants. So I can select any category. So my requirement is I just want to exclude this database. We can also define a time period. Say I know in this time range, some activities is going to happen. That is an automated process. And I just want to exclude it. I just don't want all this garbage of active threat analytics, which I know I trust. I can simply go and set this and you're all good. You will avoid all the false positive. Now we have this categories. So if you do not want to see any cases from a specific category, you can simply click on that and click action and inactivate. So these categories are predefined. These categories are as per our active threat analytic mechanisms, all the 3 mechanisms and different categories. The 16 categories are listed. If I do not want to choose anything, if I don't want cases for particular category, simply click here and deactivate that. Okay, now let's see this active threat analytic page. So by default, this is last one day. In my last one day, what are the cases generated? So as this top section shows me the cases, high, medium, low. In this table, there are different types of cases generated and these can be filtered as per the type. So these are the different types. Now, let's see, I'm just interested to know more about insider possible data leak cases. Say I want to look into this case. So I'll click here, which is a view profile. Now clicking this will give me a detailed analysis of the case. Okay, so it has 3 tabs. This case details tab which you see here, this gives you details specific to the case type, observations, and links to some specific reports. So this case is a possible data leak case, which means someone has extracted a lot of data. So what do we see here? These are the outliers. Now, for each one of them, we see the average in blue. Now here, the average for this excessive activity is 6. However, the actual value is 20, which is definitely more. So normally 6 is that happens in an hour, but now during this hour, there were almost 20 excessive activity that happened. And that's a lot which we need to compare it. Source details tab. Now it is giving me an overview of this source. Here it is a database user as a source. So I'm trying to understand what kind of user this is. So what I see here is this user is active most of the time when it is off hours. It is also active on a working hour. Down here, what I see is this user it has other threat cases also during this 1 hour. Now let's see this exploration tab, which is the third tab. This gives a deep dive into your investigation. Typical 5 questions. Where? This gives me more detail on the server and the database. For example, the number of databases on the server and the number of cases of the same type on that database. What is there and when? What else was happening in your system during this time frame of the case? This is a quick representation of that. What? Details of those similar cases of the same type but on other sources. So now my source is a database and source is a DB user. So similar type of cases which happened but on these different sources. Who? This gives you statistics on the users that accessed the database and from which client host. So this is a database and this is a client host name from which it was accessed. How? How was this accessed? So this gives you statistics on application which was used to access the database. So if you scroll down, this is the application which was used, SQL Plus, to access the database at this time range. Now let's understand what actions you can do with any case that you have. Click on the action and these are the different actions which can be done. You can assign a case. You can assign a case to a role, email, user group, or a user. Then you can add a case to a group. So you can add server IP, database, and database user to a group. And then we use these groups in policies, reports, and alerts for enhanced monitoring over your system. Then you can close a case. When would you like to close a case? Oh, okay, I know this is a trusted source. I don't have to bother much about it. Simply go and close the case. Then you can add items to the exclusion list. This is the same thing which we saw on ATA setup page. So now the server IP, database user is pre-populated as per your case details. So you simply click save. And then going forward, this server IP, this database on this server with database users, no threat cases would be detected because I trust this. Now let's see how can I investigate a case using open case dashboard action. So I click here and this is the open case dashboard which will open. This is the investigation dashboard. So this is one way. There is another way where I come on the welcome page, I click on investigation dashboard. Both will open the same page. But the only difference is that when I open from the ATA case, it will have the filters pre-populated. When I say the filters are pre-populated means from my this page, I selected this. So the server, this database and this database users would be pre-populated as a filter over here. See this server, database and database user. So for now, I'm just deleting this because I just want to give a complete overview of this investigation dashboard. So at one look here, we are seeing everything that is available on this central manager. So currently my environment just have one collector and that is the reason you see only one. If you have several collectors, all would be listed here and you can navigate further to find out the traffic, to find out the activities which were happening on that collector. Further, you would like to know, or maybe on that particular server, which database you are interested to, and you can filtering out further. Maybe these are the work I'm interested, like here I say I want to focus on this server, maybe this Oracle, and I'm checking that these are the verbs, these were the activities which were performed. I'm more interested to know what is this delete. These are the activities which I see. These are the different charts which represent the same data, what you see below in the activity table. If I want to add more chart for that matter, add a chart, say I want to have a bar graph, I want to see violations, maybe on a client host name and a DB user. Click apply. Fine. So looks like there were no violations in this time range. Maybe. So these are the violations. These were the number of violations generated by this DB user and on this client host name. Now here what you see, this is a topology view. This gives you a topology of your environment. Like this is, since I just have one collector, in one glance, I get to know what were the activities, the outliers, errors, and violations that occurred on this collector. Similarly, if I would have had 10 other collectors, you would have seen in one click for all the collectors this details. We can also go ahead and create your own dashboard. Say like, as you saw, when we logged in, we have so many charts and the activity. I'm not interested in all that. Maybe I'm just interested in one particular chart, one particular activity. So I can go ahead and create a dashboard. Click here. say I give a dashboard, test dashboard. Do you want to set it as default? What does this mean? So when you open your investigation dashboard, this dashboard will be opened by default. As of now, you see overview dashboard was opened by default, but if at all, if I make it as default, then this will be opened next time when I open investigation dashboard. Okay. Now in this dashboard, what am I interested to look at? Maybe I want to add some charts, a bar graph, activities of a client host name and a DB user. Maybe I'm interested to add a result table. I also want to have an activity chart. This is a very interesting view. See, at this, now this axis over here shows the time range. I see a spike here and I'm interested to know what is happening. So if I click here, if I do show details, see the activities that happened at this particular time, and see, you see the graph as refreshed. Even your activity table gets refreshed as per the details. So it is so good that you can refine your search to the level you want. Then you may have outliers. You can see outliers for this. You can have errors. Now, maybe I'm interested to know what was like login failed. Okay, so what was this? At what time it happened? Which user was trying to access? Then we have violations and vulnerability assessment. So we can categorize all. So now I just save the changes in the dashboard that I have. So let me just open this again. So this is the dashboard. And now I don't have any other graphs or anything. I'm interested in this and I'm good. That's it. If at all you feel, no, this is not what I want, I just want to have to just go edit, just do not set it as default. And so next time when you open this, it will be a overview dashboard that will open with all the details, and then you can further drill down. So that's what I have on investigation dashboard. Now let's quickly see the basic data security policy. So if you go on the policy builder for data, this policy, it is the out of the box policy. This is a template which has some predefined rules. So when an activity includes a pattern that matches a rule, a policy violation is created. The threat finder searches for this policy violation related to the rules, and if it exceeds the threshold within that 1 hour, then a ATA case is generated. Then this case is generated, and so on and so forth. You can clone this policy, or you can edit this policy as per your rules, as per your requirement, and then install it, apply it on your collector. And once threat finder is enabled, you are all good to have those cases generated due to threat finder.